Kent Planning and Zoning Commission for Tuesday, May 6, 2025 to order. Dave, if you can please call the roll.
Alternate Commissioner Salmieri.
Here.
Alternate Commissioner Gaida. Alternate Commissioner Bond. Alternate Commissioner Caird.
Here.
Commissioner Tedesco. Commissioner Sewell.
Yes.
Commissioner Coles.
Present.
Britton. Commissioner Chaplinsky.
Here.
Vice Chair Walowski.
Here.
Chair Emerson.
Hammersley is here. I did hear from Commissioners Britton, Tedesco, Ma, and Gaida. They're not going to be joining us. We will seat Commissioner Salmieri in Commissioner Britton's spot, and Commissioner Caird in Commissioner Tedesco's spot. And with that, we have a quorum. If we can all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Could all remain standing for a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. Nice to see a big crowd, I guess. I'm going to jump out of line on the agenda a little bit because I think that some of you might be here for things that aren't going to be taken up tonight, so I want to give you the opportunity to get out of here if you want to. Of course, you're welcome to stay if you want to. But we have a couple items on our agenda. One, which I'll refer to as the Briarwood property. That application has been withdrawn. So that application will not be taken up as it's no longer pending in front of this commission. The other one is the 136 Curtis Street. That application is going to be tabled tonight. We're waiting on a site plan to be submitted by the applicant, which is required by the zone regulation. And therefore, pending that site plan, we will not be taking up that application this evening either. So if you're here for either of those, feel free to leave. Of course, you're welcome to stay if you want to, but we just found out about this recently, so we do our best to inform people.
No one's laughing. We're incredulous. Yeah, yes, it'll be
If you have any questions, you can contact Dave LaValle tomorrow in the planning office, and he'll fill you in on what the process is moving forward. But we really got to move forward on the rest of this agenda at this time, please. Okay, item number 6A, looking for a motion to approve the minutes from our meeting on March 18th, 2025. Commissioner Walowski,
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of March 18th, 2025.
do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Sewell?
That was me.
Oh, Chaplinsky? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 6B, looking for a motion to approve our minutes from our special meeting on March 21st, 2025. Commissioner Walowski,
I'll make a motion to approve special meeting of March 21st, 2025.
do we have a second?
Second. No.
I'll give this one to Commissioner Salmieri.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 6C, this is a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting as amended from April 1st, 2025. Commissioner Walowski,
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from regular meeting April 1st as amended. April 1st, 2025 as amended.
is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Chaplinsky, any discussion? I'm going to abstain on this one because I wasn't here for that, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And one abstention, Dave.
Two, please.
What, were you not here, Jamie?
I was here
Okay, you need to state why you're abstaining then.
for legal reasons.
Okay, you want to make note of that, Dave, please? Motion carries. Item 7, subcommittee reports. We had a meeting of the POCD subcommittee. Todd, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so last month we met for our first POCD meeting here. The team was here. We discussed the plan to go forward. We approved the schedule for the remainder of the year. And we're happy to announce that we have a consultant, SLR, who's willing to engage with us to be able to, perform our new POCD document. So looking forward to partnering with them. And that's it. Our next meeting, I believe, is May 15th. So
Okay, well attended, I heard.
it was.
Good. Anything on open space, Todd?
Open space, yeah, so recently, actually, we just got approved, Dave, thank you for your help on that, with the grant money for a 50-foot bridge on the Novick property. So there's, I guess, a kind of a gully. I haven't investigated it yet myself, but there's kind of like a gully there that now that bridge kind of bridges across, so people can get across easier, especially when it rains. Or we have some properties in general that we are, discussing and whatnot for potential acquisition, but nothing has been clearly identified as of yet. So that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, I've walked that Novick property, which is a beautiful piece of property. I'm sure that bridge will help navigate what I'll call marshlands, although I'm sure it's more of mudlands, but I'm sure it's gonna help. I'm gonna make a point and get out there and checking it out, but
Yeah.
thank you. Any other subcommittee reports? Seeing none, chairman comments, I'll just read the rules and the guidelines for this evening. Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Southern Planning and Zoning Commission. My name is Robert Hammersley. I'm the chairman of the commission. I want to take a few moments to explain meeting format. Aside from administrative items, tonight's meeting is comprised of two parts, a public hearing and a business meeting. During a public hearing, applicants will present their application to us in detail, which will allow the commission members and the public the opportunity to better understand what is being proposed. The commission members may ask questions during the presentation if needed, and they will ask members of the public who support or oppose the application to speak. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized by myself. Once recognized, come forward to the podium up there, start with your name and your address so we can get that on the record, and please address all comments directly through myself and not the applicant or other members of the public. Be advised that this is your opportunity to ask questions and make comments on the application, because once a public hearing is closed, no additional testimony from the public or the applicant will be permitted. It's important to maintain order and decorum at all times during the meeting. After everyone's had a full opportunity to speak, all questions have been answered, and all information has been received, the commission will decide whether it's appropriate to close the hearing. We will not consider voting on the application until the business meeting. During the business meeting, we'll deliberate on the application submitted to the commission and decide how to act on them. The commission may take one of four steps. It may approve the application as submitted. 2, it may approve it with stipulations, conditions, or modifications. 3, it may table the action for a future meeting. Or finally, in some cases, we may deny an application. 4 affirmative votes of the commission are generally required to approve any application. If you have to leave the meeting before your application has been decided on, please feel free to contact Dave LaValle all the way down here at the left in the planning department tomorrow morning, and he can tell you the results from tonight's meeting. With that, we'll move on to item number 9A, Alexander Cicero, Everlast Energy LLC special permit application to build a ground-mounted solar array of 93 panels subject to 1C, 3D, and 7B23 of the regulations. Property located at 340 Winding Ridge, zoned R80, SPU 696.1. Again, start with your name and your address, please.
Alex Ciccio, address for the application 340 Winding Ridge, Southington.
And I'm James Bartlett, and the application's 340 Winding Ridge Road, Southington, Connecticut.
Okay.
We're back. Yeah, no, just appreciate you guys, definitely Dave, and then Jim Grappone as well for facilitating just our kind of reapplication process since the last time. I think we got everything buttoned up, so I believe everybody has their plans I delivered to Mandy. Yeah.
Does everybody see the revised plans up here? Usually just for future references, we like you to bring an electronic copy so you can put it up there, so anybody out there or anybody up on the cameras there, who's watching at home can see it.
Apologies. I could try and pull it up if you want to give me a couple seconds.
You want to try?
Yeah, let's see.
If you're signing into Google, you probably want to make sure you sign out before you leave.
Yeah. One sec.
Probably go to the town website too. It's posted.
Oh, they have it on there? Do you want me to vacate this, or?
It's probably safer for everyone to just go
Yeah.
to the town website.
Okay. What would that website be? Town of Southington?
Yep, .org.
Right.
Go to departments. Alright, so, yeah, free information right there.
Go down to your application, I think it's like the fourth one down.
There we go.
So yeah, the site plan's revised, that's what we're all looking at. That's not it.
I think it's called, what's that other one? SPRSPU. Yeah.
There we go. Got it.
Why don't you just walk us through that?
Yeah, so we, this is a residence, customer Michael Johnson, and got approved last year through the Eversource NRES program. Because of the size of the system, it doesn't qualify for a typical residential application for solar. So just because of the amount of power he uses. So yeah, we built in a ground mount system. His roof does not have enough available space to make it, a roof mounted array. So gonna be adding a pathway up from, his main house to the back of along the property lines, up and cutting trees and building an array, 93 panels for solar panels.
Okay, anything else to add before we open up the questions here?
No, just, that we abided by and corrected a lot of the things on the last, comments from the previous meeting we attended last year. So regarding the Frontier, it was previously owned by AT&T, now owned by Frontier. That doesn't have any applications regarding, impacting the system. And then just, if you want to go in detail, Jim, about just like the soil and erosion plan.
Yeah, so we developed a soil and erosion plan and submitted that with the drawings and the application as well. So we have wattles and everything, hay bales and stuff like that, straw bales, to keep the erosion from being detrimental to the area.
And that was the Frontier easement I was referring to.
Okay. You all set?
Yeah.
Okay. Stand tight. Any questions from any members of the commission to the applicant? Going twice?
Can you just give like a high-level update of what you improved since the last application? Unless it was just the hay bales, I mean, was there anything else? You said you corrected some stuff, so maybe, I don't mean to have to go like, hour into detail, but just.
Definitely, yeah. As I think I mentioned last time, and definitely when we met with Dave and Jim, we were kind of underprepared at the last meeting in terms of just our internal communication. The, you know, employee who we had that initiated the application we didn't transition, that was our fault. So really just getting things all on one, you know, clean slate and layered it to be able to, because we kind of had the, you know, A2 survey, but didn't show where the solar array was going, didn't have details on how we were going to go about the soil and erosion plan, how we were going to go about building the actual pathway up to the solar array. The homeowner did a great job of getting in touch with Frontier, who ended up owning that easement, sending a guy out there to make sure it didn't impact anything. And yeah, really just, you know, communicating with Dave and, you know, Dave here as well. Mandy has been awesome. I know she's leaving you guys in this department soon, but she's just been great, kind of helping me reapply and make sure we're all buttoned up on this one.
Thanks.
You good, Todd?
Yep, good.
Under the Reagan mantra of trust but verify, I'm gonna turn to staff and make sure that they're okay with where this sits today. Everything's been worked out to the satisfaction of staff,
Yes, sir.
both in planning and engineering?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions for members of the commission before we open it up to the public? Okay, grab a seat and we'll let members of the public, if anyone, who give us any testimony on this, okay?
Cool.
You can leave that up there, that's fine.
I might still be logged in. Yes, get out of there.
Well, you gotta get out of that though.
Thank you.
Okay, any members of the public who'd like to testify on this application, please approach the podium, start with your name and your address, please. Going twice. Having none, anything else you want to add to this, or are you all set? You're all set? I'm getting a shake of the head in the affirmative that you're all set, just so everybody knows. Okay. Is there any reason to keep this, members of the commission, is there any reason to keep this hearing open in anyone's opinion? Anyone have an objection to closing it? Staff, we good to close it? Okay, we'll close the public hearing on that and move on to item 9B. This will be a quick one. PGX Holdings LLC petition to change the zone district boundary from an R40 to an ARCH property located at 2279 Mountain Vernon Road, also known as the Friar Briarwood College property, R40ZC580. For the record, this has been withdrawn. Dave, can you affirm that?
Correct.
Okay. Moving on to 9C, HQ Realty LLC special permit application proposing a permit of multiple buildings on one parcel per Section 9C5 of the zoning regulation, property located at 136 Curtis Street, zone in an I2, SPU 712. As stated earlier, this item will be tabled. Can we get a motion to table, please? Commissioner Woloski?
I'll make a motion to table SPU number 712.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Chapunsky with a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 9C, Brian Cagnati, Circular Services Organics LLC, petition to change the zone district boundary from an R40 to an I2. Change is for a portion of 49 DePaulo Drive, property located at 49 DePaulo Drive. This is zoned in an R40. This is zone change number 581.
Good evening, Attorney Timothy Fury, 43 Bellevue Avenue, Bristol, Connecticut, representing the applicant. In the fall of last year, we worked with the staff for this property, which was formerly owned by B&R Companies. A portion of adjacent property to the 40-plus acre industrial site was a large residential property. We reallocated the boundary lines, working with the staff and the health department, leaving a conforming home adjacent, but taking 6 acres and adding it to the larger B&R property. I'm not sure if, as part of your record, you have that to see the map easily. The health department signed off. We recorded 2 maps with the town clerk. and merged the two properties. It left 40 acres, 60 acres, I'm sorry, I take that back. 40 acres of the original piece and 6 acres of this adjacent property that was a part of the application. As part of the application, we provided a detailed narrative which talked about the consistency of making this area a part of the industrial property. Your plan of development specifically provides that this area off of West Street is an area to be considered and improved for industrial-based purposes. It specifically provides to encourage this type of commercial development to support your tax base. And interesting enough, I thought it was great, it specifically provided that you wanted to continue to be known as a town that carries business around on its back and lauds those achievements. So this application, and we have 2 more to come with the activities that are occurring on this site immediately to follow, is really, in part a no-brainer. The land is adjacent to a 20-acre piece owned by the town that's the former landfill that we also lease and utilize for our business purposes, which is adjacent to Lake Compounds, which is adjacent to Tilcon property. So this area down off the back of and below West Street, is a clear industrial area. They pay me $600 a minute, but only for a minute, so I don't want to belabor unless you guys have additional questions. This is, in my mind, one of the
Okay.
more basic applications I've had for.
Okay,
zone
questions
change.
for members of the commission? Steve?
Do you have a map of the area you're
Yeah, we
referring to?
provide as part of the record.
You can pull it up on there. You gotta go up.
There you go, 49.
Right there, that one, right there, yep.
This one? Okay. Perfect.
So that's the portion of the land to be added. Everything to the lower portion is our adjacent acreage. You can see the remaining home, I guess if north is up, to the north.
If you go back to the previous page, so if you hit that, don't hit the top tab,
This
the
one
other,
here,
the other
okay.
tab.
Got
Hit
it,
the
yeah.
oth- Yeah. Go down to the key map there.
Sure.
That might be a more
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. That's better.
visually
There you go.
pleasing map.
That's a better one.
The floor is yours,
So that's
Commissioner
the key map
Wolanski.
coming, DePaulo Drive comes
Okay.
down from West Street, connects at the lower corner of our property there, and you can see this is the northernmost,
Could you speak into the microphone,
oh,
please, sir?
and this is just the most northernmost portion of our site.
Can you speak a little bit as to what your plan of operation is going to be on this piece of property?
So, working with 2 neighbors to the north, one we've worked with to develop the boundary between them to keep a solid berm and boundary between the properties. The other was our existing home, which is owned by B&R, the previous owner of the property still, and we left a big buffer there, heavily wooded pines as part of the development, working with the town staff, Jeremy, your previous town planner. And in this area, which will be part of the next application, most likely would be bagged storage material of the compost. Part of what we're doing on the next site plan is a bagging facility. We actually may be reducing our footprint for some exterior storage, but they may be storing bagged products on pallets in part of it, but it's a 6-acre parcel, we may not need it all.
Right, thank you.
Okay.
Anything else, Commissioner Wolanski?
No,
All
all
set?
set.
Any other questions from members of the commission? Caleb?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I need a little more clarification too. So this application is for the zone change specifically,
Yeah,
right? Okay. So the area to the north is what you're asking for the change to, right? And that's listed as,
That smaller, dark area to the north side,
yeah, that's listed as 2064 West Street?
it was previously part of the home at 2064 West Street. Now that is a separate, and remains a separate conforming single-family home.
But is that part of this change?
No, it
Oh,
is not.
Okay,
We preserved the home at 2064 West Street, broke off this 6 acres, added it to the existing industrial property, which is a larger piece on the south. So today, they are one property, but a portion of it is zoned residential.
I see. So there is some access roads, and I'm looking at our GIS map, there is some access roads within the property. On the north side, it looks like it's called Indian Trail, that might come off of Seneca Drive. And that Indian Trail is that portion of the zone change?
This property will only be accessed through the DePaulo access site.
Yep, that's what I'm talking about. What I'm
Right.
saying is there's,
And there is an old shown right-of-way on the maps on the east side of that parcel, but from
think
a
it's roughly
practical
right
point
now.
of view, they're just shown because it's a pond, it's a swamp over there.
okay.
So I don't think you could.
So maybe I can even ask staff this. On the GIS map, there's a dashed line across that property. Is that the zone barrier that we're looking at? I'm trying to match our,
Yeah, the dashed line on the key map is the line itself, so within that, as the attorney mentioned, there is a property line and a zone line, so there's 2 different lines within it.
so the property line is to the north of the zone line. And what we're doing is just pushing that zone line up to fill out the space, so to speak.
Yes.
Correct.
Gotcha. All right. I think I'm clear now.
good clarification, so.
On this map, the R40 area in gray would become part of the I-2 zone.
Okay. It's a tough map to
It's a
get around.
tough map, yeah, so this is the R40, I'm sorry, Brian Paganini, Vice President of Quantum Organics, the operating company on the site. The gray area is the existing R40 zone. The white area here is the existing I-2. We're looking to push up the I-2 zone to be part, now, to now replace the R40 zone.
Perfect. Thank you.
You got it.
Thank
You
you,
good?
Mr. Chair. Yep.
Any other questions?
And
Any other questions from members over here?
And just to clarify, the other dotted area going out to West Street is an existing right-of-way. That's not a part of this application, only the area in gray.
It's simply the gray area, right?
Simply the gray area.
Which is roughly about 6 acres, I think you stated
Yeah,
earlier.
the dotted area going out to West Street is how these few residential homes access their
Yeah,
home.
so the new zone line, if this was approved, Caleb, to your point, I believe, would be along this area right here.
Yep, with that little jog in it.
Just what's shown in gray.
And this is I-2 down here.
Yeah.
This is R40 up here. Okay? We'll get into this on the site plan, but I just want to get it on the record with the zone change. You're familiar with the requirements for buffers between residential and industrial properties that we
Yes, and
require.
that was a part of the site plan.
We'll get into the
development.
site plan, I just want to put that
Yep.
on record, okay. Any other questions for members of the commission before we open it up to the public? Applicant have anything to add before we open it up?
Nope.
Okay, I'll just state that on this specific application, just for the record, we did receive a number of letters of support from people. They all are part of the record, but with that, we'll open it up to anyone out there in the audience who'd like to testify either for or against this application at this time, to please come up to the podium and state your name and address and let us know what you think. Yeah, come on up, sir, yep.
My name is Sebastian Milano. You'll find my 2030 West Street in Southington. I guess the piece of property where that gray kind of moves up, I'm the northern property owner there. I have 2 little pieces, about 7 acres. I just have a couple of concerns. I was there long before Tomaso took the sand. I was there before the dump was there. I was there before Supreme came in, and now I'm there with Quantum. And we've always been good neighbors with the city when they did it, and with Supreme. We've always tried to maintain a good relationship, and I understand business is business, but my only concern is that, I have a very nice piece of property on a log cabin I built some 50 years ago. I enjoy where I live, and one of the questions I have is if we decide to go along and say, okay, we'll be good neighbors and we'll approve this, give our blessing for the change, what happens 2 or 3 years ago if, now that it's changed to a different zone, if someone says, well, maybe we'll put a new plant there, and it might be a little noisy, and maybe it won't have a great odor, and I'm concerned about the devaluation of my property. So I guess I need to feel good about that part of it. And barring that, I still want to be a good neighbor with Quantum. I haven't met the owners yet, but I still know just about everybody in the yard. I see them on occasion because we use the same road once in a while. But so that's kind of a concern. And the other is, I think I understand that the property they're talking about is 100 or 200 feet from my property line. Am I right? So if it's going to be that far from my property line, why is there a zoning change in the first place? Why is it even needed? They put their compost out there, they put their soil out there, they're moving it around on a regular basis, so I guess I don't understand why there's a change needed for what has to be done.
Okay. Sebastian, just before you leave, I just want to answer some of your questions. Of course, the applicant will come up and answer a bulk of those questions. We'll ask that, and then we'll open it up to make sure that your answer is satisfactory before we close any public hearing. But just for my understanding, this is your property right here.
That's my property there, that's correct.
Okay. With regards to the zone change, I'll say this. Zones in our town are permitted to use, our zone regulations are permissive, which means that we specifically outline what you're allowed to do within specific zones. So R40s are allowed a certain set of things they're allowed to do there. Our 80s, our 2025s. To this point, I2s, industrial 2s, are allowed to do certain things. So any change, if it's approved here, any zone change would extend the line that currently exists down on I think this would be the southern portion, would extend it this far north, right? This is what the applicant is asking for us to extend that line up so that they can accomplish what they call an expansion. One of the measures that our regulations require, and I alluded to with buffers, is that any line between an industrial zone and a residential zone, which this would qualify as, is required by our zone regulations to contain a 50-foot buffer between the residential zone and the industrial zone. And that buffer is intended to provide the residential residents some sense of tranquility, if you will, from whatever's going on in the industrial zone. So it doesn't interfere with, the intent is that it doesn't interfere with your quality of life on your property. That's something that we have in our regulations for that. But I'll let them come up and talk about what their plan is so that you can get an idea of what that is. And of course, further in our agenda, we get into more specifics about what their plan are because we have to approve that as well. But I hope that gives you some sense of an idea to some of the questions that you might have.
Okay.
And any change in the future to change this, to expand it further, they'd have to come before this body again to get anything approved. We're only looking at that gray area tonight.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay. Well, hold up. We're still open to the public. No, not you, Sebastian, I'm sorry. I just, yeah, come on up, sir.
Hello, everybody. My name is Paul Rossi. I own the property just to the right of Sebi. I also own the property of Hidden Valley more to the right. So for the most part, I kind of got these guys surrounded. I work there, I live there, and I have to say that they've been incredibly good neighbors. Their operation is clean, well-kept. These guys are on top of everything. When you take into consideration what it is they're actually doing there, it's some pretty crazy stuff. You would never know. My house overlooks their property, and like I said, I can't give them enough credit for the job they do. They're very considerate of us as neighbors, and I think that what they're asking for, you should let them do. They're good business people, and I trust that if there is ever an issue, if we went there and talked to them, they would do everything they could to fix it. One of the things I thought to myself was, if I were going to say something negative or bad about the operation, what would I say? I can't think of anything. I really and truly, it's been years now living there next to them. They do a great job. So please take that into consideration when you figure out what you're going to do.
Thank you, Paul. Are there any questions for members of the commission for Mr. Rossi? All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate your input. Any other member of the public interested in testifying on this application? Now you come up. So just to refresh your memory, Mr. Milano raised a couple different issues. I think I addressed some of that.
I think
The
you
one
did.
the one that sort of stands out to me that I really can't address and will look for you to help us out with is he's concerned about devaluation of his property if this was approved. So I'd ask you to sort of speak to that at least.
So as you've indicated, the regulations already provide for buffers from the residential area, and I think they've already been working with Mr. Milano for both a berm and a planning plan for that. I think some of it may have already been done, and they've had a very good relationship, and they want to continue to do that and make sure he's satisfied. To answer another question Mr. Milano had, was that if, and part of our site plan and special permit application is to improve the processes on the site, and to expand them at the farther end with Quantum Biopower, but to improve them and put in some more modern plans, which we'll review in a few minutes. But if that all went away, which was your question, and we decided that we were going to bring in the widget factory, which someone mentioned widgets earlier, and actually build a physical plant to put widgets down there, and manufacturing is permitted in the zone, but the way your regulations are written, as I understood them and reviewed them, is if we wanted to get a manufacturing facility approved down there, anything else within the zone, virtually everything is special permit based, which means you've got to meet standards of impact on the adjacent areas. And they specifically say for manufacturing purposes that it can't be any manufacturing which creates a noxious activity. So anybody with your notice provisions would have the opportunity to come in and say, hey, wait a minute, the way they're manufacturing widgets, this is a problem. And it would be a special permit, which the board would get to review all aspects of the impact on the neighbors, including the industrial neighbors in the zone that it's in. So the key, I think, for the time being is it's the same company, it is the same principles running the company. That's one of the great advantages that Quantum brought into this, which Brian will address in a few minutes, is they retain their team, which is a top shelf team to run this facility. And the process is we aren't changing what we do. Part of the reason for the site plan is to change how we do it and to improve the processes. I think
You all
those are
set?
two questions.
Let me go to Mr. Milano and ask if he answered your question to your satisfaction. And I get a yes, so I just want to get it on the record, that's why I say it. But anything else to add on the public
Unless the
hearing?
commission has questions.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay. Is there any reason that we have to keep this public hearing open? Any objection from members of the commission to closing it? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing on that. Move on to 9E, Quantum Biopower Southington LLC, special permit application proposing the construction of a 9,568 square foot new organics receiving facility, a 5,500 square foot wastewater facility, and a 9,900 square foot bagging facility and improvements to the compost operations. Property located at 49 and 69 DePaulo Drive, Zone I2, SPU 713. Although, is that I2 only if it's approved as I2, Dave, or?
Future I2, how's that? Portion of it,
Okay,
yeah.
so it
But
really
the
is,
bulk of
some of it
it
is zoned as an R40 currently, correct?
Correct, but
Okay,
you will be
just want to make sure we're clear on
approving the
that.
site plan based upon the zone change.
Understood, got it, okay. Technicalities. Floor is yours, sir. Start with your name and your address again, please.
Again, Attorney Timothy Fury, 43 Bellevue Avenue, Bristol, Connecticut, representing Circular Services Organics LLC, who is a successor to B&R Corporation, and the facility is operated by Quantum Organics, which is a national New York company. And when they bought the facility, they did retain the team and expanded the team, which has so aptly run this facility for a few years, which is important because this is all high-tech stuff. A lot of it is new stuff that began great in part. You're one of the first in the country, and the team has a lot of experience. The team for this project is myself, George Andrews, an engineer and project manager with Lorio, who could not be here tonight because he had a fall and he wasn't physically able to come. He injured his ribs. Emily Kelting, who was a project manager and engineer. She's also been key to this project, both of them working with both the town officials, us, and the DEP. And Emily is here and can answer questions if there are any. Brian Paganini, who was up a few minutes earlier, will be up in a second, who's the vice president and managing director of the facility. Jim Clark is the operating director. Jim may be online. He's been helping us and working with Mandy and the team to make sure we get you everything that you need. And Charlie Legas, who's the general manager of the overall site and works closely with a lot of the neighbors and things to make sure that everything's going on in a proper way. You are familiar with the engineering firm, our team, and they're one of the most experienced in the industry, which is important because they're doing groundbreaking things and they're learning how to do it well. The property is 67 acres, 46.5 which is owned, 6 which is potentially going to be rezoned. Most of the activities are not occurring on the 6 acres, just so you know. The new activities are basically occurring in the existing site. And 20.6 acres is leased by the town, and the town was part of the application. The town manager signed the applications for those activities which are occurring on the leased land. On the site, they do 3 basic activities, which Brian's going to expand on in a minute. They have the food anaerobic digester, which is the high-tech stuff, which processes food waste and actually creates energy from it. They do clean wood processing, which is a part of the DEP approved permitted process for reclamating wood products on the site. And they do the leaf composting, which is some of which we work closely with the town of Southington with its leaf collection system and with the development of compost. The applications are to expand and upgrade the food processing plant to create more capability for it because it's working and there's a need for it, which Brian will review. To upgrade that process so there's more redundancy in the process and it is a more efficient process. To modernize the leaf composting program, which will actually reduce the footprint that we need and improve how that whole process is done, and integrate the 6.4 acres into the site. As well as your approvals, We do need approvals from the DEP for most of what we're proposing here. It's the chicken or the egg. They want us to have your approvals before we finalize their approvals, kind of like you have with, encroachment permits and other things with DOT, much similar thing. So with that, I'd like to introduce Brian Paganini to walk you through the overall process and how it will work and what they're trying to achieve. And you're here, okay.
It's the most nerve-wracking part of the night is trying to get the technology to work. So, there we go. Yeah, amazing.
Okay, let's start with your name and your address, please.
Sure. My name is Brian Paganini. My address is 39 Rocky Road West, Harmington, Connecticut. Our business is located on 49 DePaulo Drive. I'm the
I didn't need your residential address.
Oh, sorry,
Just-
sorry.
But thanks
Not
for
sure which
that.
one to give. We're located on 49 DePaulo Drive, right behind Lake Compounds, on the west side of town. I'm the Vice President and Managing Director of Quantum Organics. I am appearing before you today representing the 45 members of our team at Quantum Organics, many of whom call Southington their home. I appeared before this commission 11 years ago and asked this commission, as well as the town council, to take a chance on a group of individuals on a patch of land here in town to build a facility that folks had never heard of. Part of the reason why we chose the town of Southington was because of its vision in renewable energy and recycling, its vision for leadership, and the fact that it was a very vibrant community, mostly because of a lot of leadership at the time that still exists here in this community today. However, as we began living in this community and working in this community, we quickly found that it was the people of this community and the community itself that created just an outstanding place for us to work and to call home for this business. So in 2014, we put about $25 million to work in this town. And I'm happy to say that all those years later, it's been a successful journey for us. Sebastian might remember this picture. This is back in July of 2013. This was just some piles of dirt and some bark mulch when we were envisioning this facility and trying to imagine what could be. About 10 years later, fast forward 10 years, and this is what this facility looks like today. This facility is a state-of-the-art, nationally recognized organic waste recycling plant located on DePaulo Drive. It is an anaerobic digestion facility, as pictured here in this picture. The anaerobic digestion facility, for layman's terms, is essentially a giant steel stomach that's pictured here in the background. This steel stomach has billions of microscopic bacteria that are consuming food waste, making methane, and that methane is used as a fuel to power a large combined heat and power generator, a generator that would be similar to what you have at your home, except ours is the size of a locomotive. We're very proud that we partnered with the town of Southington back in 2015, again, sharing the vision for what we wanted to accomplish in this business, in this community. And the town of Southington is the beneficial recipient of the renewable energy that we produce from this plant. I believe we power this building, municipal building, virtually, the police station, the fire station, and buildings at the Board of Education as well. This campus and its operation are visited by over 100 groups on a yearly basis. Groups who are grade schoolers from local schools, all the way up to graduate level Yale students seeking to touch, feel, and look at an advanced recycling process located right here in Connecticut. If you're unfamiliar with what we do at Quantum, we essentially recycle organic waste. And organic waste comes in two forms. It comes in the form of food waste, but it also comes in the form of green waste. Together, green waste and food waste make up about 40% of what we throw away in our garbage bins on a daily basis. On a yearly basis, we convert 50,000 tons of organic waste into energy and compost and mulch that gets sold to the local community, mostly in the tri-state area. If you've bought a bag of bark mulch from Home Depot or Lowe's with the Scott's label on it, odds are that it's come from this facility here in Southington. The campus is also a model for what a strong public and private relationship looks like in an enterprise like ours in a community like Southington. Other communities in the Northeast have sought to replicate what we started out 10 years ago. And what we have now with the town of Southington is a model for what is happening in the state of Connecticut in terms of managing waste and creating renewable energy. And we're very proud of that. The facility is a nationally recognized facility. We've been written up in Biocycle Magazine, which is our industry publication. We've also been written up in the New York Times. We are very proud to call Walmart and Whole Foods and Coca-Cola part of our brand partners. We recycle a lot of their food waste. We do pride ourselves on innovation. At Quantum, we are partnering with folks like the University of Connecticut in leading sustainability initiatives. We're also partnering with Yale and Pratt & Whitney, looking at the development of sustainable aviation fuel and cycling interns from Yale to help further the development and the research around the future of fueling in our society. We also do a lot of work with Southern Connecticut State University and Cornell and Penn State in advancing organic compost blends and soil amendments. And specifically to the town of Southington, as we sit here today, we've sold roughly 19 million kilowatt hours of electricity to the town since 2018, which based on today's rates has resulted in a savings of roughly $400,000 to the town since that time. We've recycled roughly 100,000 yards of leaves from the town at no cost, outside of the cost of transportation. And we've donated roughly 1,700 yards of compost to the Leaf Education Farm here in Southington to rejuvenate cropland for new growing. And of course, we like to support the Italian American Society and the Apple Harvest by sponsorships. It's yet to let us cut the line for apple fritters, but we're holding out hope for the future. In December of 2024, we were acquired by Circular Services. Circular Services is the largest privately held recycling company in the United States. They presently operate 27 locations across 11 states, recycling about 1.5 million tons of material on a yearly basis. Circular Services came to visit our facility in the summer of 2024 and wanted to make us and our team their anchor platform for organics recycling across the United States because of what we've accomplished here in Southington. This is an example of the type of facility that our new parent company operates. This is the MRF in Brooklyn. This facility in Brooklyn recycles a lot of your blue bin recyclables, takes about 450,000 tons of that material on a yearly basis, and is responsible for running New York City's recycling contract. Because of this partnership and this acquisition, Circular will provide us the funding that we will seek to do these expansions and improvements here in Southington on our campus at Quantum. There still remains a tremendous need in the state of Connecticut for recycling food waste. Connecticut has unfortunately been the most dependent state in the United States when it comes to reliance on waste to energy or incineration of trash. Unfortunately, over the years, a lot of our incineration plants in Connecticut have shut down, most notably the Mira plant in Hartford back 3 years ago, which basically limited the incineration of 800,000 tons of trash on a yearly basis. So there's a tremendous need for recycling organic waste, which again makes up almost half of our waste stream, which Quantum here in Southington is uniquely positioned to help recycle. So from this need, we've developed a suite of services that originate from our campus over on DePaulo Drive. We are transporting organic waste, we are managing organic waste, we're grinding materials and reducing volume reduction. We are destroying packaging and recycling packaging from packaged waste materials. We're obviously performing anaerobic digestion and composting. And we're also addressing the needs of storm-related work when storms hit the state of Connecticut, and we're ready to respond to recycle the woody debris that falls in roadways and in people's yards. In the early years, the nights were long and the problems were very numerous at our facility. It wasn't simply turn the key and sit back and play solitaire at our plant. It is because of the resilience of our team that we persevered through the early stages of operating this sophisticated facility. It's also because of local businesses like parts suppliers, service centers, electricians, plumbers here in Southington, not to mention Kizzles, which kept us well fed through these long nights and days, that really helped us to achieve this level of success. And obviously, this is just a small section, as you see here on this screen, of the people that work at this facility that really put the mission and values of this business most of the time ahead of their personal self-interest and are working late nights, weekends, and holidays to try to continue to promote the mission of what we do here at Quantum. We're very proud of this culture. We protect our culture, and this business is a family. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're here to present today and through our application with the Town Planning and Zoning Commission. At a high level, we're proposing 3 improvements to the site. The first improvement is installing a bagging building to bag our mulch and compost on site. This bagging building will house sophisticated bagging equipment, robotically operated. We have historically been a bulk delivery business, basically delivering materials in a tractor and trailer or a high tipper. Based on the marketplace and a lot of our customers' reaction, they're wanting to put things or have things in a bag, easy transportability. A lot of our customers and stores are saying, hey, would be great to have your materials in a bag, so we want to take that step to put these materials in a bag and get them back to the storefront. And we're going to talk about in successive slides. I'll dig a layer deeper on what these three tenets mean. We are proposing to upgrade our existing compost facility. We would like to install an aerated static pile forced aeration compost system. By installing a forced aeration system, we can reduce our composting time from 6 months down to 35 days, and also dramatically shrink the area by which we compost now. We take up a lot of space and we lay out a lot of windrows using a windrow turner to do composting. We want to shrink that footprint by 50% by installing this device or this infrastructure to perform that. And then finally, relative to the anaerobic digester, we are seeking to expand our capacity to recycle food waste, to make more renewable power, to expand our wastewater system. We do make a lot of wastewater from the anaerobic digester, so by default, we'll expand that process. And then simply make refinements to the existing process because this technology in the anaerobic digester is almost like the iPhone. When you buy the iPhone 15, don't hold your breath because the iPhone 16 is like minutes away, and we see that same thing happen with this technology as well. Just to dig a little bit more deeply on the mulch bagging building, the bagging building will be a 110-foot by 90-foot building. It'll be of steel construction, and again, it will have automated equipment on the interior of the building that will place mulch and compost in a bag. It will form seal the bag, heat seal it. It'll lay it on its side. It'll press it flat, and then a robotic arm will grab it, stack it on a pallet, and then it will be shrink wrapped, and then a forklift will come into the building and then take that pallet of bark mulch or compost and wheel it outside for storage and then for resale. So this is our mulch bagging pursuit. We're also planning on upgrading our existing compost facility. This is a picture of our windrow turner. This is how we make our compost. So we're essentially taking some of the leftover materials from the digester, blending it with leaf and yard waste, a lot of leaves that come from the town, and through a process, we're using this windrow turner to turn those leaves. It's a good process, but not a great process. We'd like to improve that process to an aerated static pile compost process, which essentially is almost looks like garage bays, except in these garage bays, there's aeration nozzles at the basin of the floor that are forcing or pulling air through the pile and really accelerating the fashion of compost. And really composting is just introducing air into material like compost or soils to accelerate the degradation process. We want to propose to build this facility to accelerate that process and dramatically shrink our footprint for composting, just a better way for us to compost, and also provide better environmental controls in the process. And then finally, in terms of the anaerobic digester, we've had now the benefit of 9 years of operation. I've been here for 11 years of those 9 years, and we have now the benefit of wisdom and foresight. So having the ability to create some system redundancy, add some plant capacity. I think one thing we've learned is you can't have enough capacity or redundancy in a plant of this nature. It looks and feels a lot like a wastewater plant, and in any wastewater plant, having more capacity is always of benefit. So we're proposing to do just that. Specifically, we want to add more digestion capacity, essentially add more tanks to perform the act of digestion of food waste. We would like to add more food waste storage, increase our wastewater treatment plant process, which really is, I guess you could say it's on the east side of the building, increase our biogas production, and we're considering upgrading our gas to be pipeline grade natural gas to be injected back into the pipeline stream on DePaulo Drive. to supply pipeline gas to the local community as well. But most importantly, add new components to make the facility easier to operate and take advantage of newer technology that are on the marketplace that, quite frankly, we either missed when we made this initial design or have evolved over time. Giving you a quick look at the overall site plan, I'm just going to go through 4 points here. We are suggesting we'd like to build a new reception facility to take in our food waste. Our current reception facility is administered by a European manufacturer who has gone out of business, and in doing so is given us a timeline to say, hey, thanks for supporting us, but we're getting out of this business, so we need to build a new facility to take in our food waste because the equipment doesn't exist in our old facility any longer. We are suggesting to build out more tank capacity for our anaerobic digester to process more food scraps. We are suggesting also, as I mentioned, to upgrade our biogas to renewable natural gas. That's a sort of essentially a plug-and-play system, which will upgrade our gas. And then I mentioned wastewater treatment plant. This is just a series of tanks, not too dissimilar to what happens at the facility already, just expanding our ability to treat more of the nitrogen and phosphorus that are generated from our wastewater before we discharge down to the local sewer to Southington's POTW. Of course, there's benefits to the community, and I'd be remiss if we didn't go over those. We do plan on creating 25 construction jobs over the next 36 months. In totality, we do plan on deploying roughly $40 million in capital on this site to perform these expansions. A variety of disciplines will be involved here: civil, mechanical, electrical, special construction for special types of technology that we're importing from other parts of the world. We will engage local firms for a lot of this work, as we did in our original project. We do expect to make more power from this project, and we will explore the ability to sell that power back to the town as we did in our initial project, provided we can work within the current net metering framework that the state of Connecticut has laid out. We also will process more clean woody waste that is generated from the town based on these improvements to the site. We plan on adding more jobs to the facility by way of operations personnel. I think the facility will be a critical asset as the town considers more food waste diversion. We're certainly talking to folks like Burfock, and we're actively talking to the town manager about programs that target school food waste recycling, but also voluntary recycling for folks that want to engage in food waste recycling here in the town of Southington. So there is obviously a community impact that happens. I think the analogy is a rising tide rises all ships, and we certainly will see a lot of that benefit as well here with this project. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking. I think I went through a lot, but I do appreciate this time. And again, we deeply appreciate the shot that this community gave us 11 years ago. We would not be here without the compassion and the willingness to take a bet on this team, and we're very grateful. So thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Sure.
Anything else you want?
Questions for Brian?
Well, we're going to go through your whole presentation, now we'll open it up to questions. So if you have anybody else who's going to be presenting on this application, they should come up now.
Emily is here, and we've, as part of this application and as part of the site plan application, we've received comments from Mr. LaValle that we've responded to a while ago, comments from Mr. Norse that we've responded to recently, what they received recently, and comments from Mr. Grappone that we, received today, but we've, but we've responded to as well. So, and a lot of the town's comments and the staff can, extrapolate on that, have to do with the coordination between the timing of these various projects within the site, how they relate in time to the DEP approvals. If we receive our special permit and site plan approvals, it's not like we go into the ground for all of these things next week. It will be a phased development, most likely with the leaf processing portion first, because that's the easiest to permit, one of the easiest to construct. Some of the other things will happen over a course of several years, and they will, have more than enough time to, coordinate with the town staff, with the DEP, to make sure all the permits line up, as we did the last time as well. Emily is here. If you have any specific questions of her, if the staff wants us to address anything, we'd either do that now or at the time of the site plan discussion.
So we're looking at the special permit application right now.
Yep.
If there's anyone else on your team who would like to, you want to present on that application, please bring them forward now. Once your presentation's over, we'll open it up to members of the commission to ask questions, open it up to members of the public to comment, just like the last one, and allow you to come back or respond to any comments or make any other statements. So the floor is yours, sir. It's your
Yeah,
prerogative.
So on the special permit, we've provided the commission, as required by your regulations, with a detailed narrative, and the town staff has been reviewing the application. You know, appropriate location, appropriate measures to protect the neighbors from any, offensive activities. We're actually improving what is there already. We have adequate water, sewer. We've submitted a traffic report from F.A. Hesketh up in East Granby, who is our traffic engineer. And if you've reviewed F.A. Hesketh's report, what Scott indicated is when you approved the first application, it was based on a specific number of truck trips a day. It ends up we haven't had that many truck trips a day, and we don't anticipate we would meet that number with these changes. Further, the traffic on West Street, which has been measured, and Scott brought up the most recent data, has gone down, especially since COVID. As recently as 24, they evaluated. So between a little bit less traffic, and I know it doesn't feel like it coming from Bristol if you're out there, a little less traffic on 84, not even achieving the amount of truck traffic that we have. It is a signalized intersection at the top of Apollo Drive. Scott's conclusion was the activities proposed here would not have any adverse impacts on traffic. As outlined in our narrative, in your requirements for a special permit, we've met all those standards as to the appropriateness of the uses and their impact on the community.
Okay.
That's it.
You've mentioned Emily a couple times. Is that the engineer that you have for this project?
Yeah, Emily is part of Lorel.
Okay,
She's
so,
part
so
of it.
is Emily more part of the site plan, or is she part of this part of the application?
It's more the site plan, but Emily's the one and her partner who have, done the evaluations on, and working with your town staff on water, sewer, and all the various things that.
Perhaps, and again, it's your prerogative, perhaps it would be good for Emily to come up and just speak briefly about her involvement here. Specifics on the site plan we can get to later on.
Okay.
But with regards to this one, maybe it's good for her to come up here and just make a couple comments about that, so we can get that on the record.
I mean, you just talk about your CV and what you guys have done. That would be great.
Again, Emily, start with your name and your business address.
Hello, everyone. My name is Emily Kelting with Lorero Engineering, 100 Northwest Drive, Plainville, Connecticut. I'm a licensed professional engineer and project manager with Lorero. I believe Brian already did a great job presenting on what we're proposing tonight, and we can certainly dive into the site plan under the next application. But just to run through, we did meet all of the zoning compliance requirements, minimum lot area, minimum frontage, front, side, and rear yard requirements. We're meeting the 50-foot buffer between residential properties, which is required. Vegetative buffer as well as a berm is going to be provided. For stormwater, we did provide a stormwater drainage report. We have 2 drainage areas within the areas that we're proposing site changes to. One of the basins we're increasing the size of, the other meets the 100-year storm event requirements. Let's see. We're providing to the proposed site improvements, sanitary sewer connections, power and communications, gas, and as I previously mentioned, improvements to the existing stormwater network at the site. We also provided appropriate soil erosion sediment control measures.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Anything else before we open it up to members of the public? I'm seeing that you're ready for us to do that, or actually, I'm going to open up to members of the commission. Any questions of the applicant for members of the commission? Steve? No?
Yeah, I just have one quick question.
Commissioner Coles, yeah?
Thank you, sir. In the new, not digestion, but the composting area, you said that it was, the air inlet, it was an air inlet, not, okay. That was my question. I was like, wait, so how are we gonna do, so it does draw air through it? And so that's why we're not giving off any, or gassing off anything?
Correct, so it's a negative air capture, so we're pulling air through the pile, through a biofilter, and we're cleaning that air up through a biofilter and making sure that we're not emitting any noxious air into the atmosphere. That's correct.
Okay, exciting.
Yeah, it's cool.
Thank you, and it was a great presentation.
Oh, thank you, appreciate it.
Brian has some of those people that he recognizes in staff. You could see him sitting in the back row over there. You gotta match the faces to the folks back
It's
there.
like a mugshot.
And one of
Are
the,
you all
Oh,
set,
yeah, that
Commissioner
was the
Gold?
question. I
Okay.
just wanted clarification
Any,
of that.
any other questions from members of the commission to the applicant at this time?
and just to expand on that, one, Attorney Fury, one of the questions that we had of Mr. Rapone today was, you know, a little more detailed, more, and some of this is everyone getting educated on this high-tech stuff, was information on, you know, how is this maintained? How does this occur? How does the negative air work? How do they interact with the things around them? And they've already, you know, prepared that educational piece for him. And it is partly an educational piece for town staff and our staff to, you know, building in these high-tech systems.
Any other questions? Okay, I'm gonna open up to members of the public. Is there anyone who'd like to testify either for or against this application at this time?
Hi, my name's Katie Hanlon. I live at 18 Hickory Hill Road in Plantsville. And I'm here representing the Orchard Valley Garden Club of Southington. I'm speaking on behalf of the club. Among our many goals is to conserve and enhance the environment, especially in Southington, and provide education about that. Members of the club and gardeners in general are very aware of the value of composting food and yard waste on a small scale. Our members are also aware of the economic and environmental costs of waste removal in general. A part of this issue stems from the disposal of both food and yard waste in trash hauler systems, where it becomes part of the general waste stream, which then goes on to trash to energy or landfills. The club supports the alternatives of anaerobic digestion for food waste and aerated static pile composting for woody waste, and encourages the approval of the application of Quantum Organics to expand their facilities. Quantum has been innovative and responsible in converting costly waste into valuable products which are good for gardeners, good for the environment, and ultimately good for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of Ms. Halen? Seeing none, thank you. Any other members of the public who'd like to testify on this? I will note again that we did receive a number of letters with regard to this application. 3, 4, 5 letters, all in support, including the one that Ms. Hanlon just provided to us. Seeing no other members of the public at this time, anything else you want to say before we close the public hearing? Any objection to closing the public hearing from members of the commission? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, move into our business meeting. Item 10A, Alexander Cicero, Everlast Engineering LLC, special permit application to build a ground-mounted solar array of 93 panels subject to 1C3D and 7B23 of the regulations. Property located at 340 Winding Ridge, zoned in R80, SPU 696.1. Do we have a motion for starters?
I'll make a motion to approve SPU number 696-1.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to second that motion. please.
Commissioner Sewell with a second. Any discussion from members of the commission? Seeing none, Dave, can you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Coles?
Yes.
Commissioner Sewell?
Yes.
Commissioner Salmieri?
Yes.
Commissioner Carron?
Yes.
Flinsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Wolowski?
Yes.
Chair Hammerson?
Hammer's is a yes, motion passes 7-0. Item 10B, Alexander Cicero Everlast Engineer Energy LLC, site plan application to build a ground-mounted solar array of 93 panels subject to 1C3D and 7B23 of the regulations, property located at 340 Winding Ridge, zoned in an R80 SPR 1890.1. Do you have anything else to add to your? We could just incorporate the comments that were made in the public hearing into this. Does that work? Any objection to us doing that from any member of the commission? Okay, so we're looking for a motion on this one. Commissioner Wolowski.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve SPR 1890-1.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Sewell with a second. Any further discussion from members of the commission? Seeing none, Dave, you want to call the roll, please?
Commissioner Coles?
Yes.
Commissioner Sewell?
Yes.
Commissioner Salmieri?
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Caird? Commissioner Czaplinski?
Yes.
Lowski?
Yes.
Chair Hammerson?
Hammers is a yes, motion carries 7-0. That's approved. Item 10C has been withdrawn. Item 10D has been tabled. Or do we need a formal table on that one, on the business portion?
Sure, you can do it.
Well, let's get a formal motion to table that one on the business portion. Commissioner Wolowski,
Yes, I'll make a motion to table SPU number 712.
do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Coles with a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any objection? Seeing none. Item 10E, Brian Pigniti, Circular Services Organics LLC, petition to change the zone district boundary from an R40 to an I2. Zone change is for a portion of 49 DePaulo Drive, property located at 49 DePaulo Drive, zoned R40. This is zone change 581. We just heard about this. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve ZC number 581.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Coles with a second. Any discussion from members of the commission? Seeing none, can you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Coles?
Yes.
Commissioner Sewell?
Yes.
Commissioner Salmieri?
Yes.
Commissioner Caird?
Yes.
Commissioner Czaplinski?
Yes.
Commissioner Wolowski?
Yes.
Chair Hammerson?
Hammers is a yes, motion carries 7-0. Item 10F, Quantum Biopower Southington LLC, special permit application for proposed construction of a 9,568 square foot new organics receiving facility, a 5,500 square foot wastewater facility, a 9,900 square foot bagging facility, and improvements to the compost operations, property located at 4969 DePaulo Drive. This is zoned at I2. Now the whole zone is I2. SPU 713. Do we have a motion?
Mr.
Commissioner
Chair,
Wolowski.
I'll make a motion to approve SPU 713 with the stipulation that engineering department concerns are met with approval.
We have a motion with a stipulation. Is there a second of that?
I'll second.
Commissioner Caird with a second. Any discussion? I'll just say, I've had the opportunity to tour this facility a number of times since they've opened 11 years ago. To call it impressive is an understatement. It is an ideal facility, as was stated by Brian. You know, this is a facility that is not just renowned regionally or locally. It's one that's looked at internationally as being a model for how you operate this type of stuff. In addition to that, the give back and the engagement with the community has been above and beyond what anyone probably could have imagined when we went with this vision some 11 years ago to be able to do it. And I think that that's a testament, not just to the town, but more so to the business operations that they run out there. That team is engaged. That team is dedicated. That team, you could talk to any of them. I'm sure that they will tell you how much they enjoy their job and the quality of the employment that they have out there. And to add more jobs in this community, in this environment, I think is a positive to everybody. I think that the neighbors, you know, I hear your concerns. I think that they hear your concerns. I think they're very sensitive to that. I think they demonstrated that. You wouldn't know it was there unless you knew it was there. You can literally drive by West Street, and if you didn't know that that was there, you would be surprised if you took that left or right, depending on which way you're coming from. And to go down there and actually see the operation going, and then to get to peek behind the doors of what's actually happening behind those doors. There's no noxious smells. There's no obnoxious noises. which we hear from a number of residents who live by industrial sites. I think that, again, this is a great business. I'm proud to call it a business that we have in our town. I look forward to the expansion that they have planned here, and I'm excited about it, to be candid, to be honest about that. And with that, can we please call a roll?
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Sewell,
Yes.
Commissioner Salmieri,
Yes.
Commissioner Carey,
Yes.
Commissioner Chaplinsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Walowski.
Yes.
And Mayor Yan.
Enthusiastically, yes, 7-0. Item carries, item is approved with a stipulation on there, though. Item 10G, Quantum Biopower Southington LLC site plan modification application for proposed construction of a 9,568 square foot new organics receiving facility, a 5,500 square foot wastewater facility, a 9,900 square foot bagging facility, and improvements to the compost operations, property located at 49 and 69 DePaulo Drive. This is an I-2 SPR 1667.7. Emily, this is your moment to shine, I think. I won't tell you how to run it, but usually it's the engineers we hear from on this. But you go ahead, you do it your way. It's your floor. Tee it up.
Well, just quickly, would like to, without boring you through it, to have Brian's presentation is quite integrated here. So it's for whatever purposes of the record, I would know Brian's presentation for this
Okay.
purpose. I don't
So,
think.
so we'll incorporate the PowerPoint into the
Yeah.
record on this one as well, please? Okay?
And
Without objection from members of the commission, anyone object? I don't see any.
You looked
Go
at
for it.
pretty good memories. I don't want to have him go through it again. We will have Emily come up to just go through quickly. Mr. LaValle's here, Mr. Norris is here. I think we've addressed their issues. Mr. Grappone had a few things today that we've addressed. I don't know that he's had a chance, I don't think he's had a chance to review them. So any approval, if you chose to give an approval tonight, I'm assuming would be subject to remaining staff comments being addressed, in fairness to Mr. Grappone, who's worked very closely with us and been very good. And his comments were, in my opinion, more, educate me to have it in our record, which we're doing. He just wants to understand it, which is fair. So with that, I'll just introduce Emily again to go through the basic substance.
Okay. All right. Let's start with your name and business address again.
Sure.
please.
I'm going to pull up the site plan.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
that's
you do
okay.
that.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Emily Kelting with Lorero Engineering, 100 Northwest Drive, Plainville, Connecticut. Again, professional engineer in Connecticut and project manager with Lorero. Here to present for Quantum Organics, 49 DePaulo Drive in Southington. Quick agenda, I'll review existing conditions, review the proposed site improvements, go over grading, drainage, and utilities, and quickly run through soil erosion and sedimentation controls. I'll use this for, so the existing site, land area about 64.3 acres, including a recent lot line amendment to the north. Compost and clean wood processing takes place to the northern portion of the site. AD operations on the southern portion of the site. Mulch storage in the center of the site. Access to the site via DePaulo Drive, which is on the southern portion of the site. Topography is mild, climbing to the south. The site was previously sand and gravel pit, and the site is located in an industrial 2 I2 zone. There are no wetlands within 100 feet of site activities. The site is not located within a FEMA flood zone, and the site is not located within an NDDB zone. All right, proposed site conditions. So really quick, I don't know, it's probably not easy to see. Just up here, we have the zoning data table, which shows how we meet all of the zoning requirements for I2. Also just wanted to make additional note to the minimum buffer strip. Since we're located adjacent to a few residential properties, we are meeting that 50-foot requirement for that. Additional proposed requirements that we're meeting, site lighting will be full cutoff dark sky compliant, And as I previously just mentioned, vegetative buffers are provided along all property lines abutting residential zone properties.
Takes a while to load.
I know, I'm sorry. Okay, so this is the overall site layout plan. I won't dive into this too much because Brian did a great job already, but the proposed improvements to the composting activities will be taking place on the southern portion of the site. The proposed bagging area is slightly so it's the northern portion of the site. Proposed bagging area is slightly south of that, and then the proposed additional AD operations south of that. Okay, so this is our overall grading and drainage plan. All proposed improvements are located within the developed portions of the existing site. The central and northern portion of the site is graded towards the northeastern infiltration pond located here. Southern portion of the site is graded towards the southwestern infiltration pond located here. Grading in the AD area may be required to flatten the footprint area. We're also proposing a retaining wall along the southern portion adjacent to the proposed AD operations. Since the site was previously a gravel pit, we know the site is suitable for stormwater infiltration. We also did some additional perk testing to confirm this. Those locations are shown within each infiltration pond. The existing infiltration ponds also have stone forebays to assist with cleaning out stormwater as it makes its way into the ponds. Storm events were analyzed for 2 to 100-year storm events. Both basins have been designed to provide no discharge in storm events up to the 100-year storm event. The northeastern basin holds 300,000 cubic feet before discharging. And that's based on existing conditions. We did not need to update that for proposed conditions. The way that this pond is currently graded meets the 100-year storm under proposed site improvements. The southwestern basin holds over 115,000 cubic feet before discharge. We did need to do some mild grading in this basin in order to meet the 100-year storm requirements. Stormwater from the ASP will be diverted from overland flow and discharged into the AD operations. So you can see here there's a tank here that collects stormwater from this area, and there's 2 pipes that run through the site up to the AD operations. The overall plan enhances stormwater quality and quantity. And as I previously mentioned, we did also submit a stormwater drainage report. Overall site utilities, I won't dive into this too much, but we do have a new proposed sanitary connection. There'll be a bathroom within the new bagging building. Power and communications will be available as well. And we're also providing gas from DePaul Drive to the site. Finally, the soil erosion sediment control plan, we're providing appropriate soil erosion sediment control measures throughout the entire site for all 3 proposed site improvements. The last thing I just wanted to mention briefly was that we're also going to be doing a variety of DEP permitting. So just wanted to list off what those were. We've already had a few meetings with DEEP, and we're in communications with them. We'll be required to get an air permit, significant industrial use permit. We'll be making modifications to our individual solid waste permit, and we'll be updating our industrial stormwater general permit, all through DEEP. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else before we open it up?
No, and just to know, and Emily's covered all of it, but the, as well as what she outlined with DEEP, this program, updates the overall site because we're meeting the upgraded standards of the state stormwater discharge regulations and the updated standards of the state soil and erosion control, both of which went into effect last year. So that is all, without saying, and the staff knows this because they've reviewed it with that in mind, the overall plan meets all those standards as well.
All right. Any questions from members of the commission? Commissioner Coles?
I'd like to ask a couple questions, or at least get some more clarification on the 50-foot buffer and the 8-foot berm. So on the site plan, it shows there's actually a couple of arrows that show a berm. There's one that's kind of in the middle of the, I'm trying to show our different pictures. So on the lower left section.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
That's adjacent to Mr. Milano's property. We've constructed a berm, and we're have proposed, I think, a planting plan.
So it looks like there's, on my drawing, or on the drawing, it shows that says 8-foot plus earthen berm vegetated with native species in this section over here. And then there's also another arrow that follows it along in this area. My question is, that 8-foot berm, can we have that put as close to that 50-foot barrier or 50-foot setback as possible? The reason being is, the reason why I ask, is just to protect against crawl into that area, because I know it's a very active space, and if there's extra space, your guys might not, the applicants' workers might even know that they're getting across that 50-foot. So the berm as almost like a, I don't want to say barrier, but a dividing line, so that it's at least known to people working on the site that, oh, this is where we have to stop.
So you want the berm farther away from Mr. Milano's property line? Is that
As
what
close to that, close to the 50-foot line as possible, as opposed to being in the middle of kind of no man's land. I saw a north and south from the back. I think you guys get it.
You understand? Okay. Do you understand what they're talking about, Mr. Milano? Pulling the actual berm away from your property line so that there's no activity between there and your property line. And then we'll get it planted.
I don't really have an issue with the berms now, because nature.
This isn't open for public.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
maybe I'll just fill in the blanks. So my hope is that we could just make sure that that 50-foot buffer space is defined in perpetuity. And
So,
that's what
so
that additional
what
coverage did.
what I would propose is that we work with staff to, as well as the berm, regardless of its location, to work to landscape that 50-foot area to prevent that creep that you're talking about. Because you don't want it to be a 6-foot berm 10 feet from the property line, and then we're using the space 10 feet from the property line, even though the berm's great and the trees are great. So I think, we can verify that we've protected it as a full 50-foot buffer.
Okay, and it looks like it doesn't extend the entire northern length of the property. It looks like there's a planting schedule in that other section. So
Yeah, along a-
this would just be applicable to the area where the berm is gonna be installed.
Right, and a portion of the remaining boundary over there is heavily existing wooded. that
Heavily
we're not-
wooded, yeah.
That we're not fooling around with.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
So just to clarify, you're requesting, or you're asking if the applicant would be okay if that was a stipulation added onto it.
Yes,
But there is no stipulation right now until a motion is made. But I just want to make sure that when we
We'll add
make a
that.
motion, that we include that as part of it.
yes.
Right, because otherwise, if you just approve, it's approved as submitted.
I'm with you.
Okay. I just want,
Yep,
looking down
no.
the road, so.
But if in the motion, you could give some latitude for us to work with staff to make sure we've satisfied our neighbors, satisfied your goal, because there's, there's a lot of ways to do that that would
Okay.
be appropriate.
Okay, we'll take that into consideration.
thank you.
So, any other questions for the applicant, for members of the commission? Okay, I'm just gonna make another
Okay?
request to see how you respond to it. It is relative to neighbors and the sequencing of the construction that's gonna be occurring. I always like to try to make sure that neighbors are as minimally impacted by that construction as possible, so that includes any activities and the timing of those activities, any lights that may be from trucks moving in and out or other construction equipment moving in and out. Would you be receptive to making sure that the sequencing on that takes into consideration protecting the residential neighbors from any interference, if you will? Probably not the right word, but a word I'll use anyways. Any interference from that construction activity so that you sequence it accordingly. Would you be receptive to that?
We're sensitive to it and receptive to it, but construction activities are construction activities.
Understood.
We built the existing facility without a major problem with our neighbors, most of which have come here in favor, and those who did speak didn't have a problem with the construction process. So,
And for the commission's consideration, I'm not necessarily suggesting that we require that as a stipulation. I just wanted to get a reaction from the applicant. This applicant has demonstrated themselves to be a good neighbor, if you will.
Yep.
So I just put it out there, and I'm
yeah,
sure
for-
that as
you
you
know,
move
for
forward.
the record, we would indicate, we are going to be not building this all at once. We are going to be phasing it, and the area that would potentially most have impact on the neighbors is the one that will occur first, and will certainly be, we think will occur first,
Okay.
would be sensitive to we're doing to the timing of when they start and finish, as they did when they built it. So that would be our intent.
Okay.
We've had great relationship, and the neighbors have been very gracious to them. Every meeting I've had with them, they've talked about how.
There's no
even-
indication that I have ever seen from y'all that you're anything but a hospitable and considerate
Yeah.
tenant, if you will.
And they recognize, as did you in your comments, that this is a big operation, and the neighbors have been great. And I think they have been great too. So they want to continue that, especially if they want to grow and they want to thrive and they want to modernize. It won't be the last time we're here, because it is like an iPhone. It's moving quick.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
for the record, I would make that
I appreciate your response. Any other questions from members of the commission before we look for a motion on this? Okay, you all set?
Thank you. All set.
All set? All right, so we're looking for a motion on item 10G. Commissioner Walowski?
I'll make a motion, we approve SPR 1667-7 with the stipulation that engineering concerns are met and that the buffer is, help me out here.
Have some language on that.
May I? That the 50-foot, the 8-foot berm come as close to the de minimis line of the 50-foot buffer as possible.
That's your motion.
Correct.
Okay, second. Do we have a second on this?
Second, please.
Commissioner Sewell with a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, can you please call the roll, Dave?
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Sewell?
Yes.
Commissioner Salmieri?
Yes.
Commissioner Carey?
Yes.
Quincy?
Yes.
Commissioner Walowski?
Yes.
Hammers is a yes. Motion carries 7-0. Congratulations. Nice job. Keep up the good work, guys. Item 10H, Tilcon Inc., renewal of a previous earth excavation approval, property located at West Queen Street and Welsh Road, EE 24.19. Mr. Bravino, is this the 19th time you've asked for?
Yeah, it's a lifetime achievement.
That's got to be some kind of record, I'm thinking. Maybe, maybe not. I don't think I've ever seen that number. You want to take this for a second?
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Mademoiselle.
I mean, it's huge.
Well, Seb, you really did clear the place out, huh?
Yeah. Oh.
Mr. Chairman, Commission members, Seb Bovino, planner, with Kratzer Jones, represented the applicant.
Hold on
Hold on one second.
Oh.
The chairman's
Just
not.
waiting for Bob.
No, he said to continue
Oh,
without.
did he? Okay, I didn't hear.
I represented the applicant. The map on the screen represents the area of activity. This is in the northwest corner of the overall site. The activity is next to the Lake Compounds parking area, which is here. North is up on the map here. The property is located off of DePaulo Drive and Welch Road. It is 184 plus minus acres. It's zoned industrial. The proposal is for an extension of the current permit. The hours of operation are 8 to 5, excluding all holidays. The truck access route is from West Queen Street, then goes down to DePaulo Drive and enters the property via a driveway, which is paved, two-way, two-lane access driveway. Is about 2,400 feet long, coming from West Queen Street down to the gate area and comes through the property into this location here. All the appropriate notes and details are on the plans. Water truck is available all the time on the site for dust control. There are erosion bonds in place to provide safety in terms of doing any kind of replacement of the erosion controls or repairs. The site is registered and approved by the Department of Environmental Protection. The activity is, as I said, is a renewal of the previous proposals. I have here a key map that indicates where the site is and the truck route. If you can pass around this to each member. They'll give you a better idea, the relationship between the site activity area and the beginning of the property, which is 184 acres. Most of the area is stabilized, and so the only activity is these two piles of materials right here, and the appropriate erosion controls are in place. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Any questions to the applicant? Seb, could you just clarify, I was with you until that last part, you said most of the area is stabilized. Could you clarify what you identify as most?
That's 184 acres, so as you enter the gate at the end of West Queen Street at the corner of DePaulo Drive, you have a wooded area south and north of this property. Actually, it's next to Quantum Power that we just witnessed the presentation there. So it's probably 100 acres or more. It's all stabilized, meaning there's woods growing, there's vegetation growing. It's not exposed to the elements, let's put it this way. This is the only
You're not gonna
area.
get runoff or wash away or anything like that occurring? 'Cause
That's right.
the roots are holding the ground together.
Yeah, we have a washing operation to the south right here. The gravel washing operation, it's right here. At the bottom here, there's a plant that actually washes the gravel and then moves the gravel off-site when they're ready. And this area here where the piles are and the activities taking place is surrounded by siltation fence and other means of erosion controls. And it is a very flat area in this area here where the operation is taking place.
Okay. Any other questions of the applicant? Commissioner Wolowski?
Just real quick, this is a 2-year extension. How many more years do you feel that the area is gonna produce?
It's been a long time it's been here, so it's gonna continue for probably another 10, 20 years.
Okay,
Until they're ready to develop this as industrial sites.
right. Just curious, thank you.
Yeah. Hope to be here.
With all due respect, I don't, but, not here anyways. Any of it, thanks for that question, Steve. Any other questions of the applicant? Can we get a motion on this, Steve?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve EE 24.19.
We have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Commissioner Chaplinsky with a second. Any further discussion? Call the roll, please, Dave.
Commissioner Coles?
Yes.
Commissioner Sewell,
Yes.
Commissioner Salmieri,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Kaplinski,
Yes.
Orlowski,
Yes.
Thank you.
Hammersley is a yes, 7-0, motion carries, or item is approved. Item 10I, selection of a consultant for the 2026 POCD update. Commissioner Chapunsky, why don't you fill us in on what's going on here?
Sure. So at the first meeting we had for the POCD, we learned that the SLR consulting firm out of Cheshire was interested in partnering with us to be able to develop renew our POCD document. We're planning to hopefully engage with them very shortly. They're planning to come to our next meeting on May 15th. So we'll chat with them more about that, and looking forward to hopefully working with them in
Okay.
a productive manner.
And my understanding is that the terms of the contract have been worked out, and they're just waiting for final approval from Planning and Zoning Commission. Is that accurate, Dave?
Yes.
Okay, so Commissioner Chapunsky, you want to make a motion?
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve the selection of the consultant being SLR for the 2026 POCD update.
Second.
Who's our second? Commissioner Coles. Any further discussion? Do we need a roll call on this, Dave?
Sure, let's do a quick.
Okay, let's do that then.
Commissioner Coles,
Yes.
Commissioner Sewell,
Yes.
Commissioner Salmieri,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Kaplinski,
Yes.
Orlowski,
Yes.
Chair Harrison.
Cameras is a yes, motion carries 7-0. Thanks, Todd. Item 10J, reduction of a 205,000, am I saying this wrong?
Yep.
I got
205,
chemo parade, yeah. What it says, letter of credit subdivision bond to a maintenance bond, letter of credit in the amount of $50,000, Hunter Landing Lane. This is S1303. Is this ready, Dave?
Yes, it is.
Okay. We had a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve S number 1303.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Chapunsky with a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 10K, release of an erosion sedimentation bond in the amount of $14,220. Hemlock Hill RV, property located at 2123 Meriden Waterbury Turnpike, SPR 1859. Dave, is this ready?
Yes, it is.
Can you fill me in on what this is?
That's an erosion and sedimentation bond for the Hemlock Hill
Oh,
RV property.
This is the expansion that they did out at the RV
Yes, yeah.
park out there that
Yes.
we approved, I want to say like 3 years ago, maybe even longer than that, but,
Yeah,
okay.
they expanded the showroom out in the front. There's an area where
Is
they
this
have
the end of
RVs
it right
parked.
now?
What's that?
This will be the end of it?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Orlowski, we get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve SPR 1859.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Salmieri with a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10L, release of a public improvement bond in the amount of $53,415, Hemlock Hill RV, property located at 2123 Meriden Waterbury Turnpike, SPR 1859. Dave, is it ready?
Yes, it is.
It is ready. Can we get a motion on this, Commissioner Wolowski?
Is it supposed to be the same number as the previous one?
SPR number? Yes, this one would have been for sidewalks or any
No, but
public
it's just the
improvement.
same SPR number, I'm just
Yes,
curious. Okay.
yes.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve SPR 1859.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Coles? You read my eyes, Caleb. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Administrative items, Dave, you want to go through those?
Sure. Under general review of the regs, when we're running through them, which happens sometimes, we check for continuity, and during the update process, some language wasn't included that was part of the proposed and approved changes, specifically the following two sections, 7B23. That was with regard to the ground-mounted solar language. We need to remove in all zones, as the regs were revised to allow ground mount by special permit in RO, RHD, R40, and R80 only, and not the more dense zones. And item 5J43, Under the area requirements for rear lots, the correct area for an R2025 rear lot is 67,500 square feet, and there was a Scrivener's error saying 77,500, so those would just be to correct the oversights there.
And these are administrative revisions, not substantive
Correct.
changes.
Correct.
Do you need a vote on this, Dave?
Sure, we can do a quick vote on that.
Do you want to vote on both of them collectively? Does that work, or you want to do, we'll just do each one separately, okay. Item 11A, Dave went through this again. This is an administrative change on our ground-mounted solar regulations that we changed, I think, about 4 or 5 months ago, maybe. So can we just get a motion to approve that, Commissioner Orlowski?
I'll make a motion to approve corrections to section 7B23.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Salmieri with a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 11B, ditto to the last one. Commissioner Orlowski, you want to give me a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the correction to section 5J43.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Salmieri with a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item 12, finally, receipt of new applications. Dave, you want to go through those real quick?
Sure. If you remember, there was a small industrial lot left over adjacent to the Pine Street and Meriden Ave locations where they did the over 55. So Lovely Development is proposing an 8,400 square foot industrial building on 115 Pine Street, Zone I-1. And then the next 3 items have to do with the affordable housing application under general statutes. There's a 65-unit development proposed there in an L-shaped building. So they'll need to do a zoning amendment, a zone change, and a site plan.
And that, for those people who haven't been through an 830G before, is a typical process that we go through on such an application. Also, I'll note that the state statute will guide our ability of what we're able to weigh in on here, and generally, we're only allowed to consider public safety or public health issues. Any other issues that we might typically look at with regards to applications, we're not allowed to look at via the state's affordable housing, what they call the affordable housing statutes. Not necessarily things that I agree with, but we're not going to get into that here. So just be prepared. I'll also mention that, again, I think that Mandy recently sent out some available educational opportunities run by the Yukon Clear program. I would encourage any member who's not taken those programs in the past to do so. They're free of charge to the individual. I don't know if the town pays for a part of that, but it is well worth your time. I know that Caleb has been through it not too long ago, but it will inform me on things like affordable housing and other things that we take into consideration on a regular basis here. So if you haven't done that, please look into it, and if you have some time, I encourage everyone to do that to the best of their abilities. With that, we'll look for a motion to adjourn. Commissioner Orlowski,
Motion to adjourn.
is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.